All right, if you're in road construction, you know the deal. A strong base is absolutely everything. So today, we're going to break down the SoilTech Stabilization method. This thing is a total game changer for cement-treated bases. And this isn't just theory. This is your practical, step-by-step guide pulled straight from the official playbook to nail it every single time. So let's get into it.
Okay, so first things first, why even bother with this method? Well, this slide pretty much says it all, doesn't it? On the left, you've got your standard subbase. Its California bearing ratio, or CBR, is about 30. That's our starting point. Now, look at the right. After the SoilTech treatment, that exact same material jumps to a CBR of 60 to 75. We're talking more than doubling the strength, the load-bearing capacity, all without trucking in a single bit of new material. Now that's what this whole process is about.
So, the big question is, how do we get that kind of incredible strength? Look, before we even think about punching numbers into a calculator, we got to understand the one single principle that makes this whole thing tick. I'm telling you, getting this one thing right is the secret sauce. It's what guarantees a perfect result time and time again.
So let me just ask you straight up. What do you think is the single most important factor here? You might think it's the amount of cement, or maybe even the SoilTech polymer itself, but nope, it's not either of those. It all boils down to one critical thing, a variable that you and your team control right there on site.
And here it is. Optimum moisture content, or OMC. You've got to remember that term. Think of it as the Goldilocks zone for water. It's that perfect, precise amount of moisture that basically acts like a lubricant. It lets all the little soil particles slide right past each other so they can pack down into the tightest, densest arrangement possible when you compact it. Not too wet, not too dry. It has to be just right.
So why are we obsessing over this OMC thing? Because, as you can see right here, it is absolutely critical. It's a triple threat. First, getting max density gets you max strength. That's how you hit that awesome CBR of 75. Second, the cement. Well, it needs just the right amount of water to properly hydrate and get super strong. And third, you need that water to be the vehicle, to carry the SoilTech polymer everywhere, making sure it coats and binds every single little particle. If you miss that OMC target, you're not just compromising one thing, you're messing up all three. The whole system fails.
All right, so now that we've got the why nailed down, let's get practical and talk about the how. It's time to do some math. Think of this next part as our recipe. We're going to walk through the exact calculations you'd use for a pretty standard job, a 1,000 square meter area treated down to a depth of 150 millimeters.
Okay, step one. Before we do anything else, we have to figure out how much soil we're actually working with. The formula is super simple, just area times depth times density. For the density, we'll use a typical dry number, about 1,800 kilograms per cubic meter. So, for our example, it's 1,000 square meters times 0.15 meters deep times 1,800. And what does that give us? A grand total of 270,000 kilograms of dry soil. That's 270 tons. Now, this number is key. Remember it, because every single calculation we do from here on out is going to be based on this one figure. It's our foundation.
Okay, on to ingredient number 2, the cement. The recipe here is really simple. The standard dose is exactly 1% of that dry soil mass we just figured out. So yeah, it's just a quick and easy multiplication.
So you do the math, and that means for this job, you're going to need 2,700 kilograms of cement. If you're using 50-kilo bags, well, get ready to spread 54 of them.
All right, next up, the SoilTech polymer itself. This is another fixed number. The application rate is always 0.75% of our dry soil mass. So just like with the cement, we take our big baseline number and multiply it by that percentage. And the result? For our 1,000 square meter project, you'll need exactly 2,025 liters of SoilTech MK III. And remember, that dosage doesn't change. It's always constant. Okay, now for the tricky one, the ingredient that changes every single day, water. See, the amount you add totally depends on how much moisture is already in the ground. This is where you have to do your homework. You've got to test the moisture on site, then subtract that number from the lab's official OMC number. That difference? That's your water deficit. So for our example today, let's just say our deficit is 5%. So if we take our 270,000 kilo soil mass and multiply it by that 5% deficit, boom, we need to add 13,500 liters of water.
But I gotta say this again because it's so important. This is the number that's always gonna change. If it rained last night, it's different. If it's a scorcher of a day, it's different. You absolutely must test it every single morning. No excuses.
Okay, we've got our ingredients list, we know our quantities. Now we've arrived at what the official method calls the most critical step in the entire process, and that's mixing the SoilTech and water correctly inside your water tanker. Seriously, if you mess this part up, all that other work, it's all for nothing.
And I really need you to listen to this. This is a direct quote from a manual, and they put it in all caps for a reason. I want you to burn this into your brain. The circulation pump must operate continuously from the moment you start adding SoilTech until that tank is bone dry. Why? Because the polymer will settle out without agitation. If that pump stops, even for a second, you're not spraying the right mix anymore. It's that simple. There are absolutely zero exceptions to this rule.
So let's walk through the exact procedure, say for a 10,000-liter tank. It's a simple checklist. Step 1, fill the tank about halfway with water. Step 2, and this is the big one, start the circulation pump. Now. Step 3, while it's circulating, you slowly add in your SoilTech. Don't dump it all at once. Step 4, let that mixture circulate for a good 5 minutes. Then you can top up the tank with the rest of your water. And step 6, you guessed it, keep that pump running during the drive to the site and during the entire application.
You know, to make life a little easier for you on site, here's a handy little quick reference guide. Using our example of a 5% water deficit, this table shows you the exact mix of water and SoilTech for a 10,000 or a 20,000-liter tank. But here's the really critical part. It shows you how much area that tank will actually cover. Take a look. A 10,000-liter tank, it only covers about 644 square meters, not the full 1,000. That's a super common mistake that people make, so watch out for it.
Okay, so your tank is mixed perfectly, that crucial pump is running. Now it's game time. It's time for the actual application. So let's get into the final phase, hooking up to your recycler and getting that flow rate calibrated just right.
The whole goal here is really simple. You just need to match the speed of your liquid flow to the travel speed of the recycler. It's a balancing act. So, for our project, we figured out we need to put down about 15.5 liters for every square meter. If your recycler is chugging along at, say, 6 meters per minute, you need to set your pump's flow rate to about 224 liters per minute to hit that target perfectly.
But look, we all know that calculations are one thing, and the real world on the ground is another. This guide here, this is for your operator. It's all about using your eyes. If the material coming out the back of the recycler looks dry and dusty, well, that's easy. You need more liquid. Bump up the flow rate by about 10%. On the flip side, if it's looking all wet and soupy, you're putting down too much. Back it off by 10%. It's not set it and forget it. It's a constant process of watching and adjusting.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground. We talked about the why, we went through the recipe, we nailed down the mixing process, and we covered the application. So let's bring it all home with one final checklist. Think of these as the 5 golden rules, the non-negotiables for getting a perfect result every single time. Let's lock these in. Rule number 1. The SoilTech dose is always 0.75% of the dry soil mass. That never changes. 2. The water amount is always different. You have to test your field moisture every single day. 3. That circulation pump? It runs continuously, non-stop, no exceptions. I can't say that enough. 4. Remember the tank coverage. A 10,000-liter tank does not cover 1,000 square meters. You have to do the math based on that day's water deficit. And finally, rule number 5, use your eyes. Watch the material and adjust your flow rate as you go.
And that's it. That is the entire method, broken down from start to finish. You now have the exact recipe, the playbook, for literally doubling the strength of your road base, using the exact same dirt you already have on site. So the only question left to ask is, are you ready to go build a better road?